Hey riders, welcome to another video in our adventure motorcycle training series. I'm Eric Lange with Ride Adventures. I've been guiding and riding motorcycle trips around the world for about 10 years now. And today we're going to show you the 9 most common mistakes you can make when loading your motorcycle and tying it down to a truck. So let's get started. So one of the first mistakes I've seen people make is choosing too steep of a loading angle to put the ramp at. So this is a problem when you're, let's say, halfway up and you're throttling the engine and feeling the clutch a little bit and you accidentally kill the engine. Or it may be you or your friends can't even push the bike up such a steep angle. So the solution would be to find a different loading point. Move the truck so it's up against a berm, find a curb, do something to get that bottom end of the ramp up higher and closer to being level with the truck, especially if you have a truck that's perhaps a little bit lifted. You need to equal out that angle of that ramp. So another mistake would be not taking the time to strap your ramp securely to the vehicle that you're loading. Folks, you've made the investment in this great motorcycle. You love it. Your vehicle is probably expensive as well. Heck, you might even have an audience of people watching you at the time all this is happening. Take the extra 30 seconds, put a couple of simple straps around from the tie downs in your truck to the ramp. Make sure it is secure because you never know when, although the weight of the motorcycle should hold it down to the bed of the truck, you just never know when maybe a bouncing action or some little mistake is going to let it slip out of place halfway through this process. The bike goes down, you go down, expenses, injuries. Avoid that stuff. Take the extra 30 seconds and strap that ramp down. So another mistake, and the one perhaps most likely to cause an injury, is actually riding the motorcycle up the ramp.
Oh, shit.
You've seen videos probably online before, and hopefully it never happens to you, but think about that. If you're going to ride up this ramp, are you going to have the momentum for sure to make it all the way up? What happens if you accidentally kill the engine halfway up? You can't touch the ground. Your feet are dangling from both sides like that. You and your bike are going down.
Oh, shit.
So avoid this completely. Don't do the ride up. Instead, do a walk up. Ask somebody to help you push the bike up. Or if you are going to do the ride up, make sure that you've got a flat surface to be riding on, not a real steep angle of the ramp like we talked about before. And along with all of this too, if you are going to ride with yourself on the ramp, on the bike, consider your weight limitations. Know what the weight rating is of the ramp that you're going to be using, the tailgate of the truck that you might be using, and add your own body weight to the bikes and say, is that even enough to be handled by this situation? Probably best just to push the bike and not ride it up the ramp. So the fourth mistake you can make is not properly sizing up the situation before you actually get into it. So think about your reach, how tall the bike is, the loading angle of the ramp, how high the surface is that you're trying to get the bike up onto, and what do you have to transition as the bike goes up. Do you have a step, some kind of a gate like GMC's multi-pro gate here? Do you have something to help you transition as the bike goes up to help you go up along with it? So you don't want to get halfway up and realize you can't reach the next level. Think about the compromise of not having your feet so quickly and easily to get up on top of the loading surface. Think about this at a time, kind of mock it up, walk through it if you can. And of course, as always, try and do this with somebody else there to help make sure the bike is secure in case you are wrong. So the next common mistake we've seen is using straps with open hooks like this instead of those with built-in closures like this. Now, it is possible to use these, but the danger here, the consequence is that while the motorcycle is on the vehicle and you're driving down the road, you're ultimately going to be having some bouncing back and forth. And each time that motorcycle wiggles back and forth, it's essentially creating a little bit of slack in that strap that is tying it down to the vehicle. So on both ends, you need to make sure that you've got either a closed hook like that or use a simple zip tie like this to secure the hook to the tie down point on the truck. Now, a simple zip tie like that is not holding any actual weight in this situation. It's not holding the weight of the strap and the bike. It's literally just helping sort of adhere the hook to the tie down on the truck so that with slack, the hook doesn't accidentally pop out. This has happened. We've seen it happen. Be careful with these open hooks. Always use a closed hook if you can. So another easy mistake to avoid when you buy your tie-down straps is to buy soft straps. It's a real simple thing. Instead of relying on the hook itself to be on your motorcycle's frame or a luggage rack or whatever it is, the strap itself, soft part right here, would be up over the triple clamp using the hook as you see right there. This allows you to avoid the sort of the temptation of going up and kind of putting the hook onto itself like this. And in this situation, you would want to use a zip tie again to make a closure there and make sure that that stays to itself. But again, the soft strap allows you to maintain your motorcycle a little bit better. You're not putting a hard hook on different surfaces to scratch it. Just the sheer nature of having that softness there also helps absorb the different things we're talking about, the wiggling and the shaking and the vibration on the road. By not having a hard hook on your bike, but instead just having a soft strap, it just all works out better. You're absorbing vibrations and impacts. Another mistake you can make is not checking the actual surfaces that you're going to be putting your straps around on the motorcycle. So check your motorcycle manufacturer's recommendations for the tie-down points and everything. And for the most part, like on the top of the triple clamp there, you should have a smooth surface without any bolts or hoses or clamps or anything like that to worry about. But make sure that it's a smooth point there. And if you do have any edges anywhere touching your strap that are sharp or piercing at all, at least put some kind of a padding, foam or whatever in there as well to protect the strap, because believe me, with the amount of pressure we're talking about, properly securing the motorcycle down, and then adding the vibrations of the road, the wiggling back and forth, the shaking of the bike, something like the edge of a bolt head or whatever can absolutely add up to tearing your strap. And once you tear a strap, bike goes down. Don't need to tell you else what happens. Another mistake people can make is thinking that just because you have straps holding the bike from both sides, that it's actually going to stay in place and the handlebars couldn't by chance turn. They can, unless you have the front wheel into a wheel chock, or have straps holding it in place in the front. Just through the vibration and the shaking and the movement of the vehicle on the road, with a little bit of motion, that one side of the bike can turn a little bit. All of a sudden the front wheel turns and slides up across that front surface, and the bike can go down on its side. Don't need that. So at least, again, if you don't have an actual frame wheel chock or some kind of a restriction, use straps, wrap them at least once around the front of the wheel, and then secure it to both sides of the truck like that, because you need to do whatever is necessary to make sure that that front wheel does not turn once you're underway and in motion. So finally, a mistake you can make that's so easy and simple and quick to avoid is just by having a couple of extra straps available to secure the rear of the motorcycle as well. Sounds like it might be overdoing it, but think about it. There's a surprise upheaval in the road, bumps you hit or something like that, maybe an accident actually. It sure would be nice to have that bike secured to the truck by now an extra set of straps on the back of the bike. And there's a couple ways to do that. Of course, you can use obviously like the frame or a luggage rack or something and secure it down like that. But if you actually strap over the rear wheel and over the swing arm, loop around the wheel like that, and really secure a strap across the back of the bike like that. Let's say one of the front straps did fail for some reason. One of the tie-down points on the truck failed. By having a properly strapped down rear of the bike, it could essentially still keep the bike upright for you just by those rear straps being in place. So it takes a few extra 30 to 60 seconds, well worth your time and effort to make sure that you don't have mistakes. So we hope this information helped you avoid some possible mistakes out there. You know, we send folks out with our rental motorcycles and our rental trucks, and if you ever do need to put your bike up into the truck, at least now you know how to avoid those mistakes that can be expensive and cause injuries. So be sure to like and subscribe and share this. Watch for other videos in our adventure motorcycle training series. If you have questions or comments, please leave them below, and look forward to seeing you out there for more miles and more smiles, and thanks for watching.